Okay. Wait for a few minutes so other can join. Then after we'll start with the lecture. Okay, let's start with our lecture. So first I will give you a brief overview about first two characteristics that we have discussed, and then after start with the next one. So in last lecture I have explained why in order to choose the most appropriate method for a particular problem, it is necessary to analyze the problem along several key dimensions. Right? These are the 7 characteristics that we have discussed. Is the problem decomposable? Can solution step ignored or undone? Is the problem universe predictable? Is a good solution absolute or relative? Is the solution a state or a path? What is the role of knowledge, and does the task require interaction with the person? Now, the first characteristic that we have discussed, that is the problem decomposable or not? So in that two examples that we have discussed in yesterday lecture, the first example that we have discussed, that is problem of computing the expression. Now in that what I have explained, suppose you want to solve this problem of, if you want to solve this, if you want to computing the expression. So now here in this case, what you have to do? So at each step, it check to see whether the problem is immediately solvable or not. If the problem is immediately solvable, then what you have to do? The answer is written immediately. But if the problem is not easily solvable, then what we have to do? Decompose the problem. Decompose the problem into a smaller sub-problem, and then this process is continued recursively. So you have to do this process. But see here in this case, this all the sub-problems are what independent. Right? When we try to combine it, we will get the original answer. So here you can say that the problem of computing the expression is a decomposable problem. Then after we have discussed the block word problem we have studied. Is the start state and goal state is given. Now here the goal is underlined. But see here in this case what I have explained. So first of all, this goal is divided into the two sub problem. See, this first sub problem is very easy because see one block C and D, nothing on it. So here this goal can be easy. This goal you can easily achieve. But here in this case, in second sub problem, if you want put A on B, so in that case, what first you have to clear, off A by removing C, right? So here, this task is easily done if the start state is given. Here, if you want to perform this sub problem, first you have to clear off A by removing C, right? And here in this case, if we are trying to combine these two sub-solution into a one solution, so in that case you can say we will fail. Regardless of which one we do first, we will not be able to second, we regardless whether this one is performed or this one is performed, we will not be able to do the second as we had planned. So that's why here you can say that these two sub-problems are not independent, right? They are they are dependent, and that's why you can say that this block one problem is not a decomposable. Right? Up to this we have discussed. Am I audible properly, everyone? Am I audible properly? Please let me know. Okay, okay. Then after these rules that I have explained in yesterday lecture, then after we have discussed the second characteristic, that is, can solution step be ignored or undone? Now listen, here in this case, the two examples that we have discussed. See, the three classes of problems are there: ignorable, recoverable, and irrecoverable. In ignorable, what I have explained, in ignorable, in which the solution step can be ignored. In that, I have explained you the example theorem proving. Now, listen. Suppose we are trying to prove a mathematical theorem. Now we proceed by first proving a lemma, and that will think that will be useful in that. But see, when you are proving it, at that time it's possible that we fail. So what do we now? So at that time, what we are doing, starting again, right? Just ignore the previous, just ignore the previous one, and then start again. So we have lost here is that is the effort that was spent. So that's why you can say that theorem proving is an example where the solution step can be ignored. Now then after the next we have discussed in yesterday lecture, that is recoverable. So recoverable means in which the solution step can be undone. So in that I have explained you the example of 8 puzzle. Now all of you know the 8 puzzle. This start and goal state is given. Now suppose, say listen, in this particular, see this figure. So while trying to solve this 8 puzzle problem, at that time we might make a stupid move. So here, suppose let's say we might start by sliding the tile 5 into this empty space. But having done that, we cannot change our mind and immediately slide the tile 2 into this empty space. First, what we have done, we might start by sliding the 5 into the empty space, but we cannot change our mind and immediately slide the tile 5, sorry, slide the tile 2 into the empty space. Right? So what we can do, we can backtrack and undo the first one, means sliding the tile 5 back to where it was, and then we can move the tile 2. Right? So this thing is done. So that's why you can say that the 8% is an example in which the solution step can be undone. But here in this case, you have to remember the control mechanism for 8 puzzle solver that must keep track of the order in which the operations are performed, so that the operation can be undone one at a time if necessary. Because here we must have to keep track of the order, which operation is performed first. That will be useful in the case of backpacking. Now, then after the third example that we have discussed, that is irrecoverable. So in which the solution step cannot be undone. So in that I have explained you the chess examples. So here, suppose in a playing program that make a stupid move, right, and realize later. So here in this case, if the stupid move is done, so at that time we can't start it again or backtrack. In the case of chess, all it can do is to try to make the best use of current situation and go. Right? That's why you can say that in chess, in which the solution step cannot be undone. So these are the three classes of problem that we have discussed. Right? I have discussed in a yesterday lecture. Up to this clear, everyone? Anyone have a doubt? Now start with the third characteristic. Please tell me. Please let me know. Clear up to the second characteristic, everyone? Can I start next? Okay. So a third characteristic is the universe predictable? So first listen, here there are two type of classes are there, certain outcome and another is an uncertain, right? By By hearing this name certain outcome, I think all of you can understand. So now, in certain outcome, I will give you an example of 8 puzzle. First, listen everyone. So every time we 8 puzzle, every time when we make a move, we know exactly what will happen. Every time when we make a move in a 8 puzzle, we know exactly what will happen. This means that in the case of 8 puzzle, it is possible to plan the entire sequence of moves and be confident that we know what the resulting state will be. So here we can say that we can use a planning to avoid having to undo a actual move. We can use planning to avoid having to undo actual move. So here it will still necessary to backtrack past those moves one at a time during the planning process. Thus, a control structure that allows the backtracking will be necessary. So see, listen here, in an 8 puzzle, all of you know that the planning is possible. So here you can say that one way of describing the planning is, that is, it is the problem solving without the feedback from the environment. Here no feedback is required in the case of 8 puzzle. And for solving a certain outcome problem, the open loop approach will work fine since the result of action can be predicted perfectly. All of you know that. And planning can be used to generate a sequence of operators that is current to lead to a solution. So this is all about 8 puzzle. Now, the another is a uncertain outcome. So in that I will explain you the example of breach. So here, suppose we want to play a bridge. Now one of the decisions we will have to make is which card to play on the first tree. Now here what we would like to do is plan the entire hand before making the first play. But see here in this case it is not possible to do such a planning. Why? Because we cannot know exactly where the all cards are or what the other players will do on that turn. So that's why you can say that it is not possible to plan the entire hand. And see, so for that, the best what we can do, the best we can do is investigate the several plans and use the probability of various outcomes to choose a plan that has a highest estimated probability of leading to a good score. See, again I repeat the same thing. Suppose we want to play a bridge. So in that case, what we have to do? We will have to make is which card to play on the first trip. But see here in this case, it's not possible to plan the entire hand. Why? Because it's not possible to do such. Because it is not possible to such a planning with certainty, since we cannot know exactly where the all cards are and what the other player will do on that turn. And that's why what we have to do, the best we can do is investigate the several plans and use the probability of various outcomes to choose a plan that has a highest estimated probability of leading to a good score. Right? So that's why, see here you can say that in uncertain outcome, the planning can base generate a sequence of operators that has a good probability of leading to a solution. We need to allow for a process of plan reason to take place as the plan is carried out and the necessary feedback is provided. See, in the previous case in 8 puzzle, the feedback is without no feedback is required. But here in this case, what? Feedback is required, and we need to allow for a process of plan revision to take place as the plan is carried out and the necessary feedback is provided, and it providing no guarantee of actual solution, and the planning is very expensive since the number of solution paths that need to explore increasingly increases exponentially with the number of points at which the outcome cannot be predicted. So these are the two classes of problems. One is a certain outcome and another is a uncertain outcome. Up to this clear everyone? Anyone have a doubt in third characteristic? Anyone have a doubt? Clear everyone? Please reply everyone so you can understand. If you are not giving me any answer, then I feel that you know everything. Okay, see, one question is from Asutosh. Okay, chess will be uncertain. Now, can any other student give me answer of Asutosh? What do you think about this chess? Okay, Gata, can you unmute your mic and can you explain it why it is uncertain?
Yes, ma'am. Because we don't know what the opposite player, which move that person is going to take. So based on that, we cannot predict. Means we cannot plan the whole solution in advance. So because of that, it will be uncertain.
Okay, very nice. Asutosh, clear? Okay. Listen, everyone. Uh, See, in this seven problem characteristic, different example, I will explain you. So right now, we are not in between. We are not discussing the other problem. At the end of this seven problem characteristic, we will take one example, and through that we will discuss about this seven problem characteristic, right? So at that time, if we have any doubt, and then at that time we will discuss. Okay. So these two problems, right, in the universe predictable. Now the fourth characteristic that I will explain you. Okay. So now listen, the fourth characteristic that is a code solution absolute or relative? Now here, consider the problem of answering a question based on a database of simple facts such as the following. Now listen, suppose this problem is given. Marcus was a man, Marcus was a Pompeian, right? These are examples. Marcus was born in 14 AD. All men are mortal. All Pompeians died when the volcano erupted in 79. No mortal lives longer than 50 years, and it is now 1991 AD. Now the question is the Marcus alive? Right, suppose we ask the question, is the Marcus alive? See, this database of simple facts are given. Now the question is the Marcus alive? So now listen. See, actually, this is the example of resolution. So, sir will explain you that topic of resolution. But right now, just through this example, see, I think, see, we will not go in detail. Just how the process is done. Just you have to understand. But actually, how to write the resolution. So that sir will explain in that lecture, right? So here, suppose we ask a question, is Marcus alive? So by representing each of these facts in a formal language, such as predicate logic, and then using a formal inference method, you can say that we can fairly easily derive an answer to a question. Now see, here in this case, when this type of question is asked, can be answered in a multiple way, you can give the answer. Now see, here the two solutions are given. The question is Marcus alive? So here there is a first solution. First they have taken the axioms 1. So that is what Marcus was a man. The axioms 4, that is all men are mortal. So now Marcus was a man and all men are mortal. So by using that 1 and 4 written, the Marcus is a mortal. Now see how this thing is achieved. Right now don't understand. Okay, this is one procedure. This one process, that thing is done in a resolution. Right? Just see only the solution portion, right? How it is achieved, that not taken on mind. Now another is the axioms 3, that is Marcus was born in 14 AD. The axiom 7, that is it is now 1991 AD. So here you can say that from 3 and 7 it is written Marcus was born in 40 AD and it is now 1991. That's why the new one is new result you are getting, that is Marcus age is 1951. Now the another axiom 6, that is no mortal lives longer than 150 years. So see here it Marcus age is 1951 and all of you this fact is given no more mortal lives longer than 150 years. So from that you can prove that the Marcus is dead. Right, there is a one way to prove. See, the question is Marcus alive? So there is a one way, that in that way we are proving this. Now there is another way, right, for proving the Marcus is for proving this particular question. So here you can say that if this type of problem now. See, if this type of problem is done and the question is Marcus alive? So the question to the here, it can be answered in a multiple way, either in this way or in this way. So here you can say that we are here in this case, we are interested here, that is the answer to a question. It does not matter which path we follow, means whether we are proving by using this or whether we are proving by using this. So we are here, we are interested only to answer to a question. It does not matter which path we follow, which path we follow. So here you can say that if we do follow one path successfully to the answer, there is no reason to go back and see if some other path might also lead to a solution. So here you have to keep in mind, it may be possible that there are multiple answers to a particular question. But once you are getting the solution, once you are getting the solution, there is no necessary to try other path, to try the other path once the answer is found. Right, and that's why here you can say that this problem is known as the what? Here this is an absolute problem. Here this is a absolute problem, right? And in previous case, one thing I forgot, that is here you can say that see in previous one, sorry, uh, okay, huh? So okay, that thing already I have explained, so no need to explain it again. So here you can say that in this example of what? Absolute. This is an example of absolute. Once we get the answer, then not necessary to try the other path. Once the answer is found. Clear? So this is the concept of absolute. Clear everyone? Absolute. Anyone have a doubt? Clear as absolute? Okay, I think all are clear. Okay, now next we will discuss. See, consider the problem, traveling salesman problem. Now, all of you know that what is our goal? Our goal is to find the shortest route that visit each city exactly once. Here, this figure is given. Suppose the cities to be visited and the distances between them, that is given in this figure. Now, suppose, let's say, one place the salesman could start is Boston, right? So in that case, one path that might be followed, that is shown in the figure. So here, if the salesman could start the city Boston, so at that time, suppose in that and in that time the distance you are getting, that is 8850, right? But now the question is this the solution to a problem? The answer is we cannot be sure unless we all try other paths to make sure that none of them is shorter. Again, I repeat, here the salesman could start at city Boston. But see here, what I am getting the distance 8850. Now the question is this the solution to a problem? When I am trying to solve this problem, is this the solution? So the answer is no, because we cannot sure unless we try all other paths to make sure that none of them is shorter. Right, and that's why suppose let's say I am trying the another path. So in that path, let's say I am getting the 7750. So which one is better? This path is better, right? So here once here you can see that this is the problem of relative. So now see So in the first case, first example, what we have what I have explained, okay, once you get the solution, there is no need to explore the other part, right? That's why that example is a absolute. While in a case of traveling salesman, right, once you are getting the solution, so at that time we cannot sure unless we try the other path to make sure none of them is sorted. And that's why you can say that the traveling salesman is an example of relative. Clear everyone? Relative? Clear everyone up to this? Okay. Now let's start with the next characteristic. Okay, but before that I will explain you one thing. So here in this case there are two classes of problems are there. One is a any path problem and another is a base path problem. What is any path? Any path means the any path problem can often be solved in a reasonable amount of time by using heuristic that suggest a good path to explore. So which one is the any path problem? The first example that we have discussed, that is a any path problem. The next, that is base path problem. So in a base path problem, no heuristic that could possibly miss the base solution can be used. So a much more exhaustive search will be performed. So these are the two classes of problem here, any path and base path problem. Okay. Now, next characteristic, that is a solution state or a path? So now listen here in this case, the two examples that I will explain you. Now consider the problem of finding a consistent interpretation for the sentence. Now suppose the sentence is given, that is, the bank president ate a dish of pasta salad with a fork. Now listen here. See the sentence, but see this particular sentence. Now there are many possible interpretations, but only one is meaningful. In this particular sentence, right? So here you can say that there are many possible interpretations for a particular word, but only the one is meaningful. Now see here in this particular sentence, refer to bank. So here you can say that the word bank may refer to a financial bank or to a side of a river, but only one of these may have a president. And that's why you can say that we need only a final interpretation, not the record of processing by which the interpretation was found. See, listen here, when the particular sentence is given, then we need only a final interpretation. Means, see here, the either the bank, you can say that bank is a financial issue, or another you can say that side of a river, but only one of these may have a precedence. So that's why you can say that here in this type of example, we need only a final interpretation, not the record of processing by which the interpretation was found. How it is found, that does not matter. We need only a final interpretation, right? So here you can say that this is the example of state. This is the example of what? State. Finding the consistent interpretation for the sentence. This is the example of state. Now, the second example that we will discuss, that is water jug problem. Now all of you know the water jug problem. In a water jug problem, a statement of solution to this problem, that is, all of you know that must be a sequence of operations that produces the final state. Right? In the water jug problem, what is the solution? That solution, that is the sequence of operator that produces the final state. So here in this case, it is not sufficient to report that we have solved the problem. and my final state is 2, 0. Now listen, in a water jet problem, if the start and goal state is given, so if we are solving the problem, so after that, it is not sufficient to report that if we have solved the problem and my final state is same. But for this kind of problem, what we really must report is not a final state, but the path that we found to that particular state. Means the whole sequence of operations, right? Whole path that you have to mention. I am feeling zero. First I am filling the 4 gallon. Then I am filling 3 gallon. Means whole path found to that particular state, right? That you have to report. So this is the example of path problem. So clear? Again I repeat. In a state problem, we need only a final interpretation, not the record of processing by which the interpretation was found. But here, the second, what we have discussed, that is the example of state. But in water jug, just this example of path. So here, just you can't say that yeah, we have solved the problem and this is my final state. For this kind of problem, we really report is what not the final state, but the path that we found to that state, right? That is necessary, and that's why we can say that what are the example of what. Clear, everyone? Gata, can you unmute your mic?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, your question is how is different from absolute relative? Which one?
The state or path. State is like similar to absolute.
In previous one, you are pardon. In previous case, you are saying Marcus, or in that case, you are saying.
Ma'am, in the previous slide, we did that absolute and relative solution, right? So in that, we were only concerned about that Marcus one only. We were only concerned about finding whether the final solution, and in that chess, I think chess exam, TSP, yes, and salesperson problem, we were concerned about the past.
This example, right?
Yes. So is
This
this
example,
is
right?
also
You
a
are
state
talking
problem,
about
right?
this one. Which one is a state problem? Marcus?
This one, yes.
Yes, yes. This is a state, and see here in this case, see for see right now the same type of question we will discuss at the end of lecture. At that time, you can understand. But see, I think you know about absolute and relative. You are talking about state or.
I'm asking, ma'am, how is absolute and relative different from state and path? Because absolute is similar to
Okay,
state and relative is similar to path. So, like, is there some difference between absolute and state and relative and path?
how it is similar? How it is similar? Relative and path. How it is similar?
In both cases, we are concerned about
See, relative means, listen, first listen. Relative means just I am talking case, suppose in traveling salesman or in any type of problem, once we are getting the solution. So here, what is my goal? My goal is I want to find the shortest path, right? So here in this, what happened? Once I am getting the solution, so I'm not say that it may be possible that other path. Other path may contain the that can means you are comparing your solution with the other solution. That is a relative problem. And in the path means see, suppose I am solving the water jug problem. So in water jug start and goal state is given, right? So see, I am not saying that okay, I am getting the solution. Okay, my problem is solved, right? But what we really need, this is my start state means how which operation you are performing. Let's say I am filling for 0, 0, then 4, 0 means whole process, whole sequence of operation that you have to mention. Means this is a path, whole path you have to explain. Okay, via this path I am getting the solution. But see that interpretation example that I have given. So in that you can say that okay, just okay. There is a meaning. I don't want how the interpretation was found, and that's why we can say that is a state. That type of problem is a state problem. કે જેમાં તમારે સી લાઈક તમારે આખું પાથ તમારે જોઈતો હોય કે ઓકે કે મને આ સોલ્યુશન મળે પણ કઈ રીતના મળે હું આ થ્રુ પાથ થ્રુ મને સોલ્યુશન મળે છે.
Okay, ma'am, understood. So, ma'am, a path problem can be an absolute as well. Right?
Hmm.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, now listen. The next characteristic, that is what is the role of knowledge. So here, any problem, see, consider any problem in that the question is how much knowledge is required to solve a particular problem. Right? So here I will explain you two examples. One is a playing chess and another is a newspaper story understanding. So this through this example I will explain you. Now suppose consider the problem of playing chess. Now listen, suppose you had unlimited computing power available. Now in the case of playing chess, how much knowledge would be required by a perfect program? So my question is how much knowledge is required if you want to playing a chess, if you want to playing a chess. So here you can say that the answer of this question, that is a very little. What we require for chess? Just the rule for determining the legal move and some simple control mechanism that implement and appropriate such procedure. Right? Additional knowledge about such things act as good strategy and tactics could of course help considerably constrain the search and speed up the execution of the program. So for chess, all of you know very little knowledge is required, just the rule for determining the legal move and the simple control mechanism that implement and appropriate such procedure that is required. So that means instead of question is asked, you have to think, okay, I want to solve this problem, then how much knowledge is required? Whether more knowledge is required, less knowledge means in that way you have to give the answer. Right? How much knowledge is required for and why? Suppose you are giving answer, okay, less or more, then why it is required? Also you have to mention that. Why this type of knowledge is required. In exam, you have to give the answer like this. Now, another is a newspaper story understanding. Now, for that, I will give you an example. See, consider the problem of scanning daily newspaper. Now, to decide which are supporting the Democrats and which are supporting the deviation in some upcoming election. Now, see here in this case, we need a lot of knowledge to answer such a question. Now, which type of knowledge is required? The candidate in each party, the fact that if the major thing you want to see the have taxes lower, then you are probably supporting the republication. The fact that if the major thing you want to see done is improve education for minority students, then you are probably supporting the Democrats and so on. So here you can say that if you want to solve this type of problem, then lot of knowledge is required, right? So same way, the different for different problem you have to think what is means how much knowledge is required if you want to solve a particular problem. So that's why here you can say that there are two story understanding that we have discussed. So in a playing chess, the knowledge is required to first search for a solution, but little knowledge is required. And while in the case of this, a lot of knowledge is required even to be able to recognize a solution. Deva, hello, are you hearing properly now? Hello, hello, am I audible properly? Now clear? Can I repeat it again? The role of knowledge? Okay. Okay, I will repeat it again, that characteristic. See, suppose my question is what is the role of knowledge? So here means if you want to solve a particular problem, how much knowledge is required? Now my voice is clear, everyone? Am I audible properly? Okay. So these two examples that we have discussed, the first is a playing chess. So suppose, consider the problem of playing chess. Now, how much knowledge would require by a program? So the answer of the question is very little. Just the rule for determining the legal move and some simple control mechanism that implement and appropriate such procedure that is required. The additional knowledge that is useful for speed up the execution of the program. But here, if you want to solve this type of problem, then only little knowledge is required. But in the case of second example, see, consider the problem of scanning daily newspaper to decide which are supporting Democrats and which are supporting Republican in some upcoming election. So here in this case, we need a lot of knowledge to answer such a question. Which type of knowledge is required? The name of the candidate in each party, the fact that if the major thing you want to see done is have taxes lowered, you are probably supporting the Republican. The fact that if the major thing you want to see done is improve education for minority students, then you are probably supporting the Democrats, and so on. Right? So these are the two examples where in one the little knowledge is required, and in the another case you can say that a lot of knowledge is required. Is required. So depends on your problem, you have to think and you have to write the answer. Now the last characteristic, seventh characteristic, that is, does the task require interaction with a person? So here you can say that sometimes it is possible to sometimes it is useful to program a computer to solve a problem in a way that majority people would not be able to understand. But see, this is fine if the level of interaction between the computer and its human user is problem in solution out. Here again I repeat, sometimes it is useful to program a computer to solve the problem in a way that majority of the people would not be understanding. But then it is fine if the level of the interaction between the computer and its human user is problem in solution out. Now another, but increasingly we are building the program that require intermediate interaction with people, both to provide additional input to the program and provide additional reassurance to the user. Now listen, through one example, I will explain you so you can understand. Now suppose the problem of, for example, the problem of proving the mathematical theorem. Now, when proving the problem of proving the mathematical theorem, now if all we want is to know there is a proof and the program is capable of finding a proof by itself. Suppose just we want to know there is a proof and the program is capable of finding a proof by itself. So in that case, you can say that no interaction is required, right? If the program is capable of finding the proof by itself, so in that case, and we know there is a proof and the program is capable of finding a proof by itself. So that's why you can say that here no interaction is required. But see, here, if any of the above condition is violated, or you can say that the interaction is must, it doesn't matter very much how a proof is found. Now, suppose our question is, okay, in that program, right, the program is capable of finding a proof by itself. But suppose that we want to know how the proof is found, right? How a proof is found. So in that case, you can say that the interaction is required, or you can say that the programmer is not able to determine where to start. where to start or that or need to assistant in an intermediate state, right? The program does not know if from line number 2 I have to start, the line number 3 I have to start. So at that time it may be possible that the assistant it may be possible that the interaction is required. So here in this particular type of question, you can say that the people are still better at doing the high level strategy required for proof. So the computer might like to be able to ask for advice. So clear everyone? So in C, when you are proving the mathematical theorem and just we want to know if there is a proof while the program is capable, if the program is capable of finding a proof by itself, so in that case I can say that the interaction is not required, right? But suppose we want to know how that proof is particular find. So here the program is not able to determine where to start. Also in that case need to assist intermediate state. And in this type of case the people are more better than the computer. And so here you can say that the computer might like to be able to ask for advice to a user, right? So based on that, you can say that there are two classes of problem in this characteristic. One is a solitary and another is a conversational. So there are two type of problem in this characteristic. One is a solitary. Solitary means in which the computer is given a problem's description and produce an answer with no intermediate communication and with no demand for an explanation of the reasoning process. So solitary means the computer is given a problem description and produces an answer with no intermediate communication and with no demand for an explanation of the reasoning process. And another type of problem that is conversational in which there is an intermediate communication between a person and the computer either to provide additional assistance to the user or to provide additional information to the user or both. So these are the two type of problems that we have discussed. Okay, now listen everyone. So we have discussed all these. We have discussed all these 7 problem characteristics, right? Just give you a quick overview, and then after I will give you one question. Okay, and in that you have to tell me whether the we will discuss this 7 problem characteristic. You have to give me the answer. I will not give you answer. You have to give me answer. Okay. So first problem characteristic that we have discussed, that is decomposable. So decomposable and non-decomposable, that two examples that we have discussed, right? All of you know that at each step we have to check whether they are immediately solvable or not. If they are not immediately solvable, then decompose the problem, and then here you have to check the sub problems are independent or not, right? So through the example that we have discussed, then after we have discussed the solution step, ignore or undone. In that what we have discussed, the 3 classes of problems are there. Which 3 classes of problems are there? Ignorable, recoverable and irrecoverable. In ignorable we have discussed theorem proving. In recoverable we have discussed a puzzle, and in irrecoverable we have discussed what? Chess problem. Now then after the next question, that is the problem universe predictable? So in that 2 classes of problem that we have discussed, certain outcome and uncertain outcome. In certain outcome, the planning is possible and no feedback is required. Where here in this case, in uncertain outcome, right? So here in uncertain outcome, what we have discussed. So you have to the planning is that we have to investigate the several plans and use the probability of the various outcomes. Choose a plan that has the highest estimated probability of leading to a good score, right? So that thing we have discussed in an uncertain outcome. Then after absolute and relative, in absolute, once we get the solution, there is no need to explore the other path. In relative, you are comparing your solution with the other path, right? That we have discussed. The another is the each solution state path, right? So through my example, I have explained. In part, I have explained you the example of water jug, right? And the next is the role of knowledge, which any problem is given, you have to think, and based on that you have to give the answer. what is the role, how much knowledge is required. And the last one is, does the task require the interaction with the person? So in that we have discussed the two problems. One is a solitary and another is a conversational. In solitary, what we have discussed, the computer is given a problem description and produce an answer with no intermediate communication and with no demand for explanation of the reasoning process. And in conversational, what we have discussed, there is an intermediate communication between the person and computer, either to provide an additional assistant to a computer or to provide the additional information to the user. Right? So this 7 problem characteristic that we have discussed. Up to this clear, everyone? Up to this clear, everyone? Please tell me. Okay. Now I will give you one question. Okay. Suppose, let's say the one problem is given, that is missionary and cannibal problem. Okay. Now all of you know that what is that missionary and cannibal problem. So that type of question can be asked. So suppose, let's say one problem that is missionary and cannibal problem. Now I want to apply that it's all 7 characteristics. Okay. So now the first characteristic, that is the problem decomposable? Now all of you think and give me the answer in chat. Right? Please give me an answer. Okay. Mayank says no. Okay. Mayank, please unmute your mic. Malia says yes. First, Mayank, unmute your mic.
No, ma'am, it is not decomposable because it is
Why you can say?
dependent on. Hello, am I audible?
Huh? Yes, yes.
Okay, so it is not decomposable because it is dependent on previous sending, and what we are
It depends
receiving
on?
back means we are sending cannibal previous states, because as if we are sending 2 cannibals, so we and what we are sending back, that is there any miscellaneous that, or we are sending back back with miscellaneous, so it is not decomposable like that.
Okay, good try. Mayank, Malia, can you unmute your mic? See, this total interactive session, right? See, already I have explained all the problem characteristics. So I can say yes. Can you give me the reason?
So like if we send one missionary or if we send one cannibal, then we will have remaining 2 of them over there. So then again recursively we will have to solve for them as well. So applying the same rules again and again, we will send one missionary or cannibal, whatever.
So all are independent in that case? No dependency is there?
So just the state of how many missionaries or how many cannibals are present on the island is what is we are concerned about. No? Like this problem can be solved for 3 as well, for 4 as well. So we don't depend on the previous state. We just depend on the current state that is formed.
Okay. Okay, listen, right now I will not give you an answer, right? Just I am asking you a question. You have to think. Also, means you have a time. Okay, so you have to think. Okay, so one student says no and one student says yes. So right now I will not give you an answer. You have to think by yourself. Okay. Now the second characteristic is, can solution step be ignored or undone? Can solution step be ignored or undone? Hello? What can you say about this? Malia says yes. All of you please try, because this type of question can be asked in exam, right? see, not directly theory is asked. In AI, right, in artificial also crypt arithmetic, I have yesterday I have explained, right? So two example I have explained. Not exactly that example is asked in exam. Any problem can be asked. So similar way, any problem is given, you have to apply this problem characteristic. Okay, Mayank says yes. Okay, Mayank, can you unmute your mic?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what can you say about here in this second characteristic?
We cannot fully ignore the step, but we can undone if we are going by mistake there. Because if suppose we have choose two miscellaneous, then we can come back and we can put one miscellaneous out and one animal on the board.
Yes, so here which class of problem is used here? So what can you say, which class of problem undo is done means? It's a recoverable.
Recoverable.
It's a what? Example of recoverable. Yes, right? Okay, good, good, right. Now the next is the problem universal predictable? Lucy, your answer is not exactly I am getting. Your question not I am getting proper. Is the universe predictable?
Ma'am, in the case of ignored and undone, if we are solving it real time, like we are transporting them and we are solving it like two, we are sending two and then we are calculating and then what to send next, then it can also be undone problem of the cannibals. And if we are
See,
just planning ahead that we will send like this and then we will be transporting like this, if we are planning in ahead, then it can be ignored, but otherwise it can be undone also.
okay, okay, okay. See, ignore means I'm trying to solve it, but see, suppose let's say I'm fail, so just I'm ignoring that and then buy the new one. Just my effort is waste. Okay. And in the case of undone means see, when to backtrack. So here again, I am solving the problem, but so at that time I'm realize okay, this is my mistake. Okay, so what I am doing, just backtrack to the previous step and then the proceed further. So that is the case that is done in a undone. Clear to see? Okay, the next one is the problem universe predictable? So Mayank says yes. Okay, clear everyone. I think all of you clear. It's a universe predictable, missionary and cannibal. Now the next is a good solution absolute or relative? Can anyone tell me? Give me the answer. It's absolute or relative problem. Okay, please everyone try. Yes, it's a relative problem. Now the next is the solution state or path? So what can you say about it's a solution state or path? It's 11 o'clock, please. Do fast. Okay, it's a path problem, right? Because here the whole path is required. Now, what is the role of knowledge? How much knowledge is required? It's a relative or absolute path? Malia, your answer is correct. It is not a relative. It's a absolute. It's an absolute path. Listen. In the case of missionary and cannibal, see, it's not a relative. It's an absolute path, right? There is no need to compare, right? So the problem is absolute. How much knowledge is required? Okay, less, not much only constraint. Okay. Does the task require an interaction with the person? See, when you give here answer, it may be possible that person to person the answer may be vary. Everyone, good try. So it's 11:02. So we are ending this session. And similarly, see, I have given you example of miscellaneous can. Similar way, any example can be asked in exam. You have to apply the 7 problem characteristic, and based on that you have to give the answer. Also, which classes of problems are there, that also you have to write. Okay. Thank you.
So hello everyone. Now today we'll continue with lexical analysis. We'll see some more details, how to construct transition diagram and other things. So that we'll learn in this session. So if you consider in the last session, we have gone through what is a lexical analysis, what is the advantage of separating a lexical analysis phase from the parsing phase. Also, we have discussed what is lexeme, token, and pattern. Then we know that the pattern is nothing but a regular expression, and we have started some regular expressions in the last session. So now in this session, we'll continue from that point. I hope this is visible to you. So let us continue with this example, which we have considered in the last session at the end. So all the strings that starts with tab or and. So our goal is we want to start with either a tab or and. So that's why we have here a tab in the beginning. Then we have any alphabet A to Z, capital and small. And here it is or. So that's why we have this or symbol. Or so it will start or end with. It start with tab or end with bat. So you can see it is starting with this tab or it is ending with bat. If we have end condition, we have to merge this together. Now all the strings in which digits 1, 2, 3 exist in ascending numerical order. So you can see that all the 3 exist. All the 3, 1, 2, 3 exist in the ascending numerical order. That's why we have 1, 2 and 3. They are in the ascending numerical order. All 3 are compulsory. All the strings of lowercase letters in which the letters are in ascending lexicographical order. That means you must have first A, then B and C. So any word which is satisfying criteria can be considered, in which alphabets are in ascending lexicographical order. Any such word will be accepted by this regular expression. So these 3 are very simple. Now let us go for a complex one. So all the strings of letters, lowercase letters that contain the 5 vowels in the order. Now we want these 5 vowels in the order. So now for consonant, because our goal is we want vowels. So for consonant, we are using this. For consonants, we are using this.